You're not going to believe what we've got today, so get comfortable, smash that like button, and let's go straight to it. Because there's a quiet behind-the-scenes move that could change how this team prepares for January. There's a veteran name suddenly popping up on the radar, and the real question is it a fix or just noise? At the same time, the offense is starting to feel dangerous again. The kind of confidence that lights up Levi's Stadium. And there's one future storyline at the most important position in sports that could split the Niner gang. So tell me right now, do you want stability or do you want aggression? You know that feeling when a team is handling business without making a big scene, like locking every window before the storm hits? That's the vibe right now. From the outside, it looks like a normal late-season tweak. But if you read between the lines, it's a message. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are treating January like a war of inches. And in the playoffs, inches decide everything. The 49ers signed quarterback Adrian Martinez to the practice squad after he cleared waivers following his release by the New York Jets. And no, this isn't panic about Brock Purdy, and it's not some threat to Mac Jones. This is chess. While the team continues to find out what they have in rookie Curtis Rourke, Martinez can be a scout team weapon for the final 2 games of the regular season. Why? Because practice has to feel like playoff football before the playoffs ever arrive. Look at the road ahead. If San Francisco doesn't land a bye, there's a real chance the wildcard round features a mobile quarterback, someone like Jalen Hurts or Baker Mayfield. And mobile quarterbacks change everything. Contain rules, rush lanes, coverage timing, third down discipline. So having a quarterback on the scout team who can stress the defense with movement and off-schedule plays isn't a small thing. It forces your defense to stay disciplined on every rep. Because one bad angle, one over pursuit, one moment of losing contain, and you're giving up a back-breaking chunk play. That's exactly the kind of habit you have to kill before January. But there's another layer that matters just as much: the offensive line. The transaction wire shows the 49ers also worked out guards Ioshua Opeta and Aiden Williams, both right guards for their teams during the preseason. That's not random, that's insurance. That's the front office saying we're not getting caught unprepared. Because Spencer Burford is still the name to monitor. Shanahan said his knee and ankle checked out pretty good, and the expectation was he'd practice this week. But we all know how December works. One day it's should be fine, the next day it's limited, and suddenly you're shuffling protection, messing with chemistry, and risking your quarterback. Bringing in options now is smart. It's planning without panic. And while the faithful debates whether this is just practice squad stuff or something bigger, there's a veteran edge defender potentially hitting the market that could flip the mood around this defense fast. Because here's the truth. When people look at a quiet 10-4, they don't fully grasp what San Francisco has survived. This team has dealt with an injury list as long as anybody in the league, missing a huge portion of its star power, and still, they're just weeks away from clinching a playoff spot and setting up another run. That tells you everything about coaching, the locker room, and the culture. But it also exposes the biggest concern for January. It starts where playoff games are won and lost, the pass rush. Right now, the 49ers are missing major pieces on defense, including both starting edge defenders, Nick Bosa and Michael Williams. That's not just 2 guys out. That's 2 players who force opponents to change the script. 2 players who make quarterbacks speed up, who create the kind of chaos that turns tight games into takeaways. Defensive coordinator Robert Saleh has done an admirable job keeping the unit afloat. But there's a ceiling when you don't have enough capable bodies. At some point, you need a veteran who understands leverage, understands timing, and doesn't get rattled when everything tightens up. And that's why Matthew Judon matters. Reports say the Miami Dolphins are releasing the veteran edge defender. Now let's be honest, he's not the same Pro Bowl wrecking ball from earlier in his career. In Miami, he appeared in 13 games and totaled 19 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 0 sacks. That's not headline stuff. But the playoffs aren't about headlines. They're about fit. Judon wouldn't need to be the guy. He would need to be steady, veteran leadership, and dependable snaps for a defense that's been stretched thin. Give Saleh a reliable edge in the run game, a veteran who can set the tone, and someone who can help keep the rotation functional while the stars are out. Think about the committee. Bryce Huff brings burst as a pass rusher. Judon brings discipline and strength as a run defender. One creates disruption, the other brings steadiness. For a defense fighting through injuries, that combination can matter more than one flashy stat line. The catch? If the 49ers want him, they probably have to move fast. This time of year, veterans with playoff experience don't stay available long, and other contenders will be lurking. Now let's talk about something you can feel on Sundays. There's an invisible thermostat inside an offense. It doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, but fans feel it. Teammates feel it. And lately, that thermostat has been climbing again in Santa Clara for one simple reason. Brock Purdy is back, healthy, and decisive. And nobody has benefited more from that than Juwan Jennings. Since Purdy reclaimed the starting job after that long recovery from turf toe, Jennings has been living in the end zone. 4 touchdowns over the last 3 games, including 2 against the Titans. That's not a fluke. That's timing and trust returning at the exact moment you need it most, especially as you start thinking red zone and third down in January. Jennings went on KNBR and made it clear what having a fully healthy Purdy means. Not just the throws, everything. The confidence in the huddle, the leadership, the sense that everyone can do their job because the quarterback is going to do his. And against Tennessee, you could see it beyond the stat line. Purdy looked more mobile and more decisive than he's been since returning. 7 carries for 44 yards, highlighted by that 26-yard scramble that basically screamed, "The turf toe isn't controlling me anymore." And when Purdy can move, it changes how defenses have to play. It forces hesitation. It opens windows. It turns broken plays into chunk plays. Purdy can be reserved at the podium, but on the field there's a quiet swagger. Jennings said that competitive version shows up every Sunday, and the rest of the offense tries to match it. That's contagious. And if this offense is truly finding its identity again right now, the 49ers aren't just getting into the playoffs, they're building momentum. And momentum in January is dangerous. But while we enjoy the surge, there's one more storyline building under the surface, one that could explode the moment the season ends. Multiple quarterback-needy teams could call this offseason to see what it would take to acquire Mac Jones. And yes, Mac Jones got his chance this year and made the most of it. In 8 starts in 2025, he completed nearly 70% of his passes for 2,115 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. That's production that gets attention, especially from teams searching for a bridge or a real competition for 2026. ESPN insider Dan Graziano has pointed out that the way Mac played in relief could generate trade interest, with teams heading into 2026 without a settled quarterback situation. Names like the Colts and Steelers get floated. And Mac checks boxes. 27 years old, former first-round pick, and he's been through the Kyle Shanahan career rehab system. Now here's where it gets tricky for San Francisco. Keeping Mac under contract next year at $2.8 million is incredible value for a backup with proven starting experience. And after what this team went through, one lesson should be permanent. Quarterback depth is not optional. It can save your season. But there's a developmental angle too. Curtis Rourke is still in the picture, with his practice window recently opened as he works back from an ACL injury. Unproven, yes, but he represents another path for the future quarterback room if the team believes in his development. John Lynch has said it straight. The more quality players you have in that room, the better setup you are, so you keep your eyes and ears open. So if the right offer shows up, do the 49ers cash in? Or do they protect themselves and keep the insurance policy? So when you put it all together, today was a perfect snapshot of what these 49ers are about. Quiet, calculated moves to sharpen the preparation. A possible veteran addition who could stabilize a battered defense. An offense getting its swagger back at exactly the right time. And a quarterback room storyline that could turn into a full-blown off-season storm. Now I want to hear from you. What hit you the hardest today? Would you add Judon if he's available? And if you were Lynch, would you entertain trading Mac Jones? Or is that depth too valuable? Drop your take in the comments, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and don't go anywhere. Because January is coming fast, and the Niner gang needs to be locked in together.